Hello, welcome back to the channel. Couldn't resist showing you this line of planters here. The patio fruit trees have all come into life, which is great because when you're buying bare roots you're never sure that they're actually going to live, are you? And then these tulips, absolutely huge. Can't hold their own head up though, probably should have staked them, but they're looking great still. Anyway, first job today is to get this next batch of peas planted. I sowed these on the 15th of March. This variety is called Paco. We've had quite a few frosts the last couple of weeks, so I haven't been planting them out, keeping them a bit safer in the greenhouse. But I mean, look at the size of them. They really need to get in the ground, don't they? So no risk of frost for the next fortnight, according to my forecast. So let's get them in the ground. I'm going to plant these peas on the other side of this pea frame that I put the meteor peas on in a previous video. That video had quite a few views watching me put this frame together, so I'll link that at the end of here in case you haven't seen it. There was a lot of feedback in that video suggesting that I might struggle with birds, pigeons especially, eating the peas, so that's why there's some extra bits in place from that video. There's also some string over the top which is going to make it a little bit more awkward for me to plant these now. But it's okay, I can cope with that. Don't seem to have lost any, but I did also move all of the meteor peas onto one row. Some of these have been nipped by frost slightly, although I did fleece them when it was heavier frosts. That's why I left these that bit longer, and I'm hoping that because my forecast now goes up to the 7th of May and it doesn't say it's going to freeze overnight, that hopefully that risk has passed and these should fare quite a lot better than the earlier planted out ones. They've actually gotten a little bit hot at times in the greenhouse, so a few of them have dried out a little bit because it's hard for the water to get in there. Looks like we've got some good roots here again. I did water them yesterday, but I have been struggling. See, they've gone a bit brown in places. They've dried out, they've gotten a bit hot in the greenhouse. But hopefully they'll be happy outside. I'm just digging this little bit of a trench and I have got some chicken manure pellets, so I'll just sprinkle a few of those in as well and get these bunched up quite tightly next to each other. Again, these ones were quite dried out on the edges, but hopefully they'll come good. I think we've got a lot of rain forecast this weekend, so they're not going to dry out here. I'd love to know the variety of peas that you're planting this year. Obviously, as I've just explained, these are called Paco and they're meteor peas. I have some alderman peas on the go which will be going up the wigwam, and I also have some Hurst green shaft and Waverex petit pois, so I can't wait to get them sown. But if you can recommend any other peas that I've missed, I'd absolutely love that, thank you. Just leave me a couple of comments below. The chicken pellets. Mix them in a bit. Sorry, wormies. And of course, as always, generous watering when you've just planted something. So I've got these giant bamboo canes. Going to make a simple structure here, and this will be for borlotti beans and Greek gigantes. I do want to leave some room on the sides so that I can plant some things like calendula there, and maybe some of the zinnias and hollyhocks and things, so there can be some colour around. They should come together there. There's something very gardener-like. It feels real when you start putting bean structures in, because if ever you picture a vegetable garden or an allotment, for me it always pictures these bean structures, and I've seen a lot of people putting them in on their plots in the last couple of weeks. I have some pretty heavy duty string here to fasten them. That's one done. Going to need to weather a few storms, isn't it? Given the way the weather's been going lately. Found an old cane from last year. I'm going to put that there. I need to be a bit taller. I just had a few climbing French beans last year, late in the season, so there wasn't much weight or much crop growing on them anyway. I think I'm going to need some diagonal braces as well, so that can fasten into there. And that one on this side, fastened up to there. I'm sure it'll do its job. I will use string to make some crosses for the beans to climb up when it's time to plant them out, but I'm not going to bother doing that until the actual beans are ready to go in the ground. I haven't even sown them yet, so it's no rush, is it? But it's nice to get another thing ticked off the list. In this rather quaint little box came some beautiful chocolates. I've been, like this on the windowsill, chitting my oca tubers, and what I'm going to do is put them in some 6-inch pots to start them off before I transfer them outside. Now, I'm not entirely certain what a 6-inch pot is. Don't have a tape measure over here. We've been lied to for years, us ladies have, so I've no idea which one of these is 6 inches. But to be generous about it, I'm going to go for the bigger one. I feel like the more room they get, the better. Couldn't be more simple. Just get the pot, fill it with soil, get an oca tuber. This one is one of the red ones. Look at the chits on that. Make a hole, plonk it a few inches below the surface, and pat it down. I've never grown oca before, have you? It's supposed to be quite lemony and you treat it like potatoes, but I believe you can have it raw in salads as well. Kerry seems to be my biggest enabler. I don't know if you've noticed that from Dog on the Plot. So she was growing it last year, and her harvests were so exciting and it just seemed so different that I thought, you know what, never seen oca in shops, so I'm going to give it a go. Because isn't that the joy of having your own space to grow, is that you can grow these things that you don't get to see in the shops. So that's my plan. I will just label them so that I know which are red and which are white ocas when it comes to plant them. I guess they're all going to look the same foliage wise. Oh, I don't know. We'll find out, won't we? So let me know if you grow oca. Is it as exciting as I'm hoping it's going to be? And how do you cook it and what do you eat it with? Or do you eat it raw? It's time to get these gorgeous foxgloves planted out. This is the Camelot series. I have some foxy mixed ones going on as well, which probably won't flower until next year. But these ones hopefully will flower this year. And I'm going to plant them in the garden around the back of the house. I'm not actually going to put these ones on the plot. As you can see, it does get a bit of dapple shade here. What I'd like to do eventually is have this little area as more of a cottage type garden, probably because it does get a lot of shade. It just seems like it'll be suited to having those kind of flowers. Put the last one up this bank here. And hopefully these will do what all the wild ones have done up in the fields, which is spread nicely, naturalised and spread. So that's my hope for these ones as well. Tractor, not telehandler. Duncan's having a bad day on the tractor. I don't think his compressor can help him. This has been my spring cabbage bed over winter, and it's absolutely been ravaged by slugs at the moment. They've well and truly woken up. Look at that. There's not a lot left on that to eat, is there? Very hungry slugs. Now, every single one of them has gone to seed, and I think that's been a problem that a lot of people have had this year with their spring cabbages for some reason, whether it was mild winter, I'm not sure, but I think I'm just going to clear the bed now because I'm not going to get to eat anything off them. I'm going to find some slugs to pick out of the bed as well, and then I'm going to plant the Boxing Day sown onions in this bed. Such a shame. I'm not a slug lover. Is anybody a slug lover? Well, that was a big one. Right, so what do we have here? So these onions I'd almost given up on, which is why I bought quite a lot of sets, because I didn't see that these would amount to anything. And these are the onions that I sowed back on Boxing Day. But as you can see, they've come quite good now. So I'm going to get them planted out in here. It has a little bit more shade here, so I hoped that that would stop these from bolting, because everyone says the sets are going to bolt anyway. So hopefully, between these and those sets, I should get a crop of onions at some point later on this summer. They just smell quite nice, I have to say. Now, these ones are Sturon and Bedfordshire Champs, so I'll do the Sturon first. Look, it's a proper tiny baby onion. Getting planted. It's not bad roots on them. Not bad at all. Try and tease them apart gently. That's it. It's really funny. We went from thinking that we were going to get no onions to suddenly feeling like I've got more onions than I know what to do with. All I have left to do is put this cover back over and worry about trapping things in there that I'm trying to keep out. These are some really chunky spring clamps that Nanu sent me from plot number 9, because they do fit this much thicker wood that I have on the beds here. So thank you for sending those, Nanu. Just peg these bits in here. The last thing I want to do on the garden part of the plot today before I move back out onto the main plot is to reinstate this bed. We did have to make it narrower so that we could fit the second greenhouse in, so it was all sort of pushed back, and now it's time to make it look tidy again. So obviously the long side is okay, but the short sides are going to have to be made narrower.
Do that again, I'll take your coffee.
You do the same when you use it.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
That's what you have to do, press on.
Just break this soil level, try not to hit the greenhouse behind me. Carrot. No? How could you refuse my freshly grown carrots? On to the next job, which is peas again, but this time, sweet peas. They've been growing all winter on this shelf here, and as you can see, these are also very long, so these need to get out. Some of them I'm going to plant around the archway just outside the polytunnel because I thought that would be quite nice, and then the rest are going on the main garden. So we'll get them sorted. Need to build a structure for those on the garden, which is the other side of the potato bed, but we'll put the ones out that are going on the vegetable garden first. Oh, they're pretty heavy, but I'm going to put them against this archway. I have sweet peas one side, and then the other side I've bought a climbing nasturtium called Milkmaid, which I've only recently sown, but hopefully they're going to take off and go over there. And just coming up each side of this archway, you can see them more on the other side, are some gladioli, so I thought that'd be quite nice that it'll have some flowers here. Right. Again, a little bit of chicken pellets in there, mix them in a bit. Now I just need to choose which ones I want to put in. Pop this up. Now that's a better root system. But it's also a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Oh no, it'll fit there okay. A little bit of soil next to you. Right, this tall one here is begging to be next, isn't it? There you go. I needed to get a spade to dig this hole. These root trainers are huge, aren't they? Just going to fasten around the wooden arch at the bottom to just help them find their way up. I think I'll have to string between the squares on the arch as well. I think they'll just need some help to find where they've got to go to start with. It's not easy doing this with the world's bluntest scissors. And then as they grow, I'm just going to do this, get a little bit of the string and wrap it around the centre like this. Maybe that was a bit long. Just to give them something else to cling on as they grow up. I've been umming and ahhing for ages about what I was going to plant on this first archway. I know the next one's having beans, but this one I've been thinking, do I put beans on here as well? Do I have flowers? Do I think about maybe putting a cucumber over here? Well, I've obviously made the decision now. There we go. A little sweet pea frame. Yet again, I'll add some chicken manure pellets. And now we'll get on and plant them. Didn't have brilliant germination here. This was actually that silver grow, and I've really struggled with it And it didn't occur to me to take these out of it and pot them on, so it's my own fault. But hopefully they'll do better in the ground. If they don't, unfortunately that's a lesson learnt, isn't it, for this year? So I'll crack on and get these in the ground, and I'll catch you in the next video. Look after yourselves. Bye.